The last 24 hours have been gangbusters in the news. From the acquittal of Daniel Penny all the way to the arrest of Luigi Mangione, a lot has been going on. And of course, it has to hit us at the busiest time of the year. If you're like me and you're working, buying Christmas presents, and of course, going to all sorts of holiday parties, it can be hard to keep up with the news. So I wanted to create a video compiling everything I could find about the alleged killer. So from the Wall Street Journal, suspect in United Health killing was an Ivy Leaguer with anti-capitalist leanings. Clues emerged that Luigi Mangione had become estranged from some friends and suffered from chronic pain. Now, what's really interesting here is that it turns out that he came from a life of privilege and an upbringing where money was not an issue. So according to this Wall Street Journal article, he went to an all-boys school called Gilman School in Baltimore, which cost $38,000 a year. So in other words, his parents spent $266,000 at a minimum on his education before he even went on to college. Now, he did graduate as valedictorian in his class, and before I get into that, I want to show you his yearbook because from all appearances, he was just a normal kid. Not only did he come from a life of privilege, but his parents were involved and active in his life. You can see his mom and dad left words of encouragement on his senior page in his yearbook. There were also other words of encouragement, I'm presuming from family members. And just based on these pictures, again, it just appears that it wasn't like he was a loner or anything. And there's no indication that he was a loner. It appears he had a lot of friends, family members, and was involved before going down this strange path in the last few months. Now, speaking of his family has issued a statement, and this came from the man you are now seeing on screen right. So on screen left is Luigi Mangione, and on screen right is his cousin, Nino Mangione, who just so happens to be a representative for Maryland District 42A, and the family picked him presumably because he's in office, to issue a statement on behalf of the family. So, statement from the Mangione family regarding Luigi Mangione. Unfortunately, we cannot comment on news reports regarding Luigi Mangione. We only know what we have read in the media. Our family is shocked and devastated by Luigi's arrest. We offer our prayers to the family of Brian Thompson, and we ask to pray for all involved. We are devastated by this news, the Mangione family. As I mentioned earlier when I was showing you the yearbook, he did graduate as valedictorian of his high school class. And just a refresher, just a reminder, this was an all-boys school that cost $38,000 a year. But even in his valedictorian speech, you could hear this theme of him believing that his generation and his class were going to usher in a new age for the world, or at least bring in new ideas. So here are some interesting snippets from his valedictorian speech.
Time here at Gilman, the class of 2016 has been coming up with new ideas and challenging the world around it. Of course, this isn't anything revolutionary, but it shows that even early on, the class of 2016 was challenging the world around it. Having great ideas, however, isn't enough to innovate. The class of 2016's inventiveness also stems from its incredible courage to explore the unknown and try new things. They demonstrate that the class of 2016 truly has the fearlessness to explore new things.
So after he graduated from high school, he ended up going to Penn University, according to CBS News. Penn graduate charged with murder and killing of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson. He ended up getting his degree in computer science, and even before graduating high school, he was very skilled with computers and actually volunteered to help with family businesses and to help give back, ironically, to healthcare. So I'm going to dive deeper later on into how his family got successful and where all their money came from. But according to the New York Times, his family actually owned a nursing home network that operated dozens of facilities in Maryland. This last sentence you'll see there, the company, Lorien Health Services, said he being Luigi, for a month as an IT technician in 2015, and before that he had done community service as a volunteer. So Luigi graduated high school in 2016. So that was actually before he got his Ivy League, his Penn degree in computer science. When he was in college, he made lots of friends. This is a photo of Luigi with friends in college, and virtually all of them describe him as, quote, a totally normal guy. And many friends have spoken out and said that they are shocked at these accusations and that he has gone down this path. So, once his name became public, people began scouring the internet to try to find his social media accounts and all traces of his online footprint to get a better understanding of his worldview and what he was maybe thinking. Well, one of the profiles that was found was his Goodreads account. For those of you unfamiliar, Goodreads lets you track what you're reading and even lets you review books. Well, according to USA Today, he had left a 4-star review for the Unabomber, person of interest in CEO slang reviewed Killer's Manifesto. So the book is officially called Industrial Society and Its Future. You can see Luigi rated it 4 out of 5 stars, and this is otherwise known as the Unabomber Manifesto. But what's perhaps the most interesting is the last sentence of this review. I'm going to zoom in so people can pause and read what they want to, but that last sentence to me is the most interesting. We're just animals. We're animals just like everything else on this planet, except we've forgotten the law of the jungle and bend over for our overlords when any other animal would recognize the threat and fight to the death for their survival. Violence never solved anything is a statement uttered by cowards and predators. Again, this is publicly available on Goodreads. According to the New York Times, he has read and has listed 295 books on his Goodreads profile. Now, the New York Times did go through these books, but they don't think we can actually learn anything from his history. Like many Americans of his background, his bookish aspirations were defined by what everyone else was reading or thought they should be reading. There was a mix ranging from all sides of the spectrum, and there wasn't a very clear theme. There wasn't anything thematic or indicative of any particular worldview. He seemed to be reading it all. Now, the Washington Post does have more information about his rich family, his rich upbringing. According to the Post, he is a member of a prominent Maryland business family. Aside from the nursing homes, which I mentioned earlier, they had businesses. They were in real estate. They also owned a country club. They had very many endeavors. We have no idea how much money. It's not publicly available yet. The net worth of the family, but to be able to pay $266,000 for your education before you even get to college suggests that you're doing pretty well. Now, there's been a lot of talk about why he may have done the murder. His mom had her own health issues and their own struggles with healthcare insurance, but there's been a lot of speculation because Mangione himself apparently had surgery. According to the San Francisco Standard, an orthopedic surgeon at the University of Southern California, who asked not to be named due to privacy concerns, identified the procedure shown as lumbar spinal fusion and said the patient in the image appears to have degenerative disc disease. This is all talking about what Luigi posted about on his X profile. So on his X profile, you'll see 3 images at his banner, and in the very middle is an image of a spine with nails and metal on the lower part of his back. And a lot of people speculate that that's not a random image, but actually an image from his own procedure. And you'll notice at the bottom, he now has 193,000 followers on X. I believe the official number, since I took the screenshot, has actually crossed over 200,000. His Instagram account has exploded as well. Before the news broke, he had 975 followers and now 27 followers and counting on Instagram. People just following him for the thirst traps. A lot of people celebrating him, thinking he's attractive and a hero. So he's going viral, I believe, for all the wrong reasons. But I'm going to try to save my analysis, commentary, and opinions for the end. But there's a preview there. Now, the San Francisco Standard talked about his spinal surgery. Well, the New York Post has confirmed this as spondylolisthesis. In late 2003, Mr. Mangione had undergone surgery to treat his spondylolisthesis. This condition causes vertebrae to shift forward onto the vertebrae below, causing significant pain and nerve injury, according to the Academy of Orthopedic Surgeons. In the months after, he became increasingly isolated, cutting off all contact with his family and loved ones. Now, this condition apparently has bothered him since childhood, so it's not as if this is anything new. According to the New York Sun, at surf break, Mr. Martin, who also lived in the same premises, learned Mr. Mangione had severe back pain from childhood that interfered with many aspects of his life, from surfing to romance. It was really traumatic and difficult, when you're in your early 20s and you can't, do some basic things, Mr. Martin said to CNN, adding that after a surf lesson, Mr. Mangione had ended up in bed for about a week with back pain. And it wasn't just surfing. He had also reportedly slipped on a piece of paper. I believe he fell after that, and that agitated his back some more. Well, it turns out that man Martin didn't just live on the premises. He was actually Luigi's roommate for at least 6 months in Hawaii. According to the Daily Mail, R.G. Martin lived with the murder defendant for 6 months at a Hawaii co-living space and told the New York Times about 26-year-old Mangione's secret agony. He knew that dating and being physically intimate with his back condition wasn't possible. And then on top of that, if we take a look at that middle sentence down at the bottom, he said his lower vertebrae were almost like half an inch off, and I think it pinched a nerve. So Luigi actually disappeared and fell off the map a few months ago. The Wall Street Journal spoke with a man named Hosea Ryan, a spokesperson for the Hawaii co-housing complex where Mangione lived. And he said that about 6 months ago, Mangione stopped replying to texts and, quote, sort of disappeared. In addition to a homemade ghost gun, a black 3D printed pistol, a 3D printed silencer, and a fake New Jersey ID, police also found Mangione on Monday with his own handwritten 3-page missive, according to Joseph Kenney, chief of detectives for the NYPD. It does seem he has some ill will towards corporate America, Kenney said, without elaborating on the writings. Now, the images of the 3D gun have been made public. This is the gun that was 3D printed by Luigi, or alleged to have been done. But the news actually has more details on this disappearance. Suspect and CEO Killing withdrew from a life of privilege and promise, but that is not all. The Independent reports that his own mother reported him missing as far back as November 18th. Now, when he was arrested, he actually had writings on him as referenced there. CNN has more details on what those writings actually are. It had to be done, says document found on person of interest. Among the lines in the 2-page document found on strong person of interest, Luigi Mangione, are the following 2 quotes. These parasites had it coming, and I do apologize for any strife and trauma, but it had to be done, a police official who has seen the documents told CNN. Aside from these writings, a backpack was also found in Central Park. So after the shooting, he had fled into Central Park. The police know he went in, but they had no idea where he exited. That's where the trail went cold. Well, they actually found a backpack that was filled with Monopoly money, and now they think that may have been a message, according to Yahoo News. Just days ago, the suspect's backpack was recovered from Central Park with Monopoly money inside. Experts claimed that the board game's fake bills may have been meant to send a message. Now, just because all of those things were found on him, it doesn't mean that it's necessarily legitimate. What is particularly interesting is that CNN is now reporting that Luigi claims that some of that evidence, particularly real money, not Monopoly money, was planted to make him look guilty. So take a look at this.
Thing that I'll note here is one of the most interesting parts that animated Mangione inside that courtroom. During the discussion of bail, the prosecutor detailed a lot of the things we've been mentioning. The ghost gun found on him, the silencer found on him, but the prosecutors also highlighted about $10,000, $8,000 in US dollars, and then $2,000 in foreign currency that was found on his person. Also, they claimed that he had a Faraday bag, which is basically a bag used to conceal wireless transmissions, say from your phone or laptop. Well, the prosecutor said that was an indication of criminal sophistication and reason why they should hold him on bail. Mangione actually said at the end of that speech by the prosecution, I'd like to correct 2 things. First, I don't know where any of that money came from. I'm not sure if it was planted. And also that bag was waterproof. So I don't know about criminal sophistication. Again,
very interesting to me that he is claiming that that money was planted. Now, ever since he was arrested, the hashtag #FreeLuigi has been trending as support surges for CEO murder suspect. This is according to Newsweek. And the New York Times reports that police say that Luigi likely saw himself as a hero. An internal police report obtained by the Times said he had the potential to be seen as a, quote, martyr and an example to follow. There are a lot of people also speculating online. So they captured him, pictures were taken, they also took an official mugshot. Well, pictures from the jail cell or the holding cell appear to perhaps suggest that Luigi peed his pants. It's hard to tell whether that is the make of the pants or it's just a weird color, but a lot of people are wondering whether he did wet his pants on purpose. And as I mentioned earlier, people have been scouring for his social media profiles, any sort of digital footprint. And aside from the book reads, aside from his X and Instagram account, people were able to find some of his music tastes. Apparently, just 15 hours ago, well, 15 hours before his arrest, not of the making of this video, the last thing he listened to was Criminal by Britney Spears. To be fair, one of his best friends has written out on Instagram. He's written out publicly, and this is a public post, so I don't mind sharing his username here in case you want to see it. But he posted a picture hugging or with an arm around Luigi, and he writes, "He's not a monster. I can't put into words on how worried I am for you right now. They have this story all upside down." So that, again, is an interesting twist in the case. We'll see what happens. A lot of people are pointing out, hey, those eyebrows don't look like his. Again, we'll see. We're very early, and as always, it is innocent until proven guilty. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to give me a thumbs up. I know it's a simple thing to ask for, but it really does help me reach more viewers like you in the algorithm. And if you also enjoyed, please be sure to subscribe, though I do need to be upfront and say that I am primarily a political analysis and political commentary channel. I do breakdowns like this, but usually on stories that I think are really interesting or complex, and I think that this will be an interesting case, not necessarily from a legal perspective, but from what it says about our culture, our society, and the state of healthcare, obviously, and politics in general. So this will be interesting from start to end, and I wanted to put this together because in order to follow this case as it progresses, I think we have to have a very strong understanding of what the facts are, and that includes the facts as we know them currently about Luigi Mangione. So be sure to smash that subscribe button and to check out one of these videos.